Okay, so hey, welcome back to our third video in the series, and in this one we're actually going to do some more resolving. There's some other things that we need to fix, and so as you go through and start using Backtrack and find things that may not have been installed on earlier versions that you used to install, which is really what I was doing, was installing my own personal preferences, but now I find that they've installed some of those. So like I could go look at Skipfish, but there's only one problem. There's Skipfish is there, but the actual binary has not been compiled. So we can resolve this by just running make, and that will build the binary for us. The problem that we see is this is version 1.73b, and so if we open up our browser and we actually go out to the Skipfish website, we can actually see that there's, I opened up two of them, so we can actually see that there's an issue with going to or with using that, because it's actually not the latest, and like an idiot I didn't get an IP address. So let me fix that real quick. So anyways, let's go back and take another look at it. So if I go out and I look at the downloads for the Skipfish project, I can see that it's 1.81b. Now I'm somewhat lazy in the sense that I have written a little script that'll go out and pull down the latest. What it does is it pulls down all of the files that are listed on the Google Code site, okay? And it removes everything, and it looks specifically in this case for a TGZ file, because I know that Skipfish uses a TGZ, and this can be modified to just look for a GZ or a zip. And then all I'm doing at that point is looking for the skipfish.google code, and then if I take a look at it, essentially what I'm doing is I've got a file, and I have it delineated based upon the single quote. And so what I've done is I said I want field number 6. So if I do this and I can cat the file, it'll actually show me that it's now pulled down that particular file. Now I can modify this, and I can take out the cut and show you what I was working with originally. And so if I cat file, essentially what we're saying is we want to grab the 6th field. So if I'm looking for the single quotes up until right here, that's 1, that would be 2, that would be 3, that would be 4, that would be 5, and so what I want to grab is the 6th one, okay? And so the 6th one happens to be just the URL itself. So if I go back and I modify this and add back in that I only want to look for the 6th field, and then pipe that, I actually come up with a file that's going to have this as that. So then I can do the wget and tell it that I want to have the input actually to download, would be the file. And so it'll actually go out and download just the Skipfish file. And so from this point, again, in the final script that I wrote, I have some other things in here where essentially what I do is I go and I cat the file again, and I take the specific, so essentially what I'll do is I will cat it again, and the delineator now is the /, so I would say that's 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and the 5th one again. So at this point, all I would do is say that, and we could try that just to show what it would be, but so I want to give it a variable, and so I will say gz equals, and then we'll do a cat, and then file, and of course now we're going to cut, and the delineator in this case is the /, and I want the field, or the 5th field, I think is what I want. Let me make sure again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want 5, okay? And then, so at that point, oops, it might help if I put the ending bracket on there. But essentially, at this point, if we were to look at the that, then I could say, so now I want a tar xv, and again, this is just trying to show you how you can use variables in a script and still do it as part of So you don't have to basically add any intelligence. Well, that sounds bad, but you don't actually have to do anything. So, you know, in this case, if I wanted to add skipfish to the web component, I could certainly very easily do that. And that would then say, because I think it used to be an enumeration, but now we're putting it into web, which is very easy for us to do. And we can say that that's where we want it to extract that directory. So what did I do wrong here? Well, this is interesting because we're learning how. Wow. So it says that I can't use that, which is interesting because it is a TGZ. So XVF GZC / and that should work. Oh, duh. And so that right there actually puts it into that. So now I still have the variable assigned. So if I do an ls, I see that I've got my skipfish directory and I've got my other skipfish. So I can remove the download, and that would actually fix the problem. But because I've also got that variable assigned to that, I can actually still do this. So I can do an rm - rf and tell it to remove that. And now that actual directory is gone. But you'll see that the original skipfish is still there, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean this up and just pull that completely out, because quite honestly it's a lot easier for me, and that was stupid. But anyways, I can do that and pull that out. And now what I'd like to do is I can move, again, I can still go through with a script, and I can now cut this and say that I want to have the delineator be a period, and then I can say again I want the delineator. So I can basically do this same exact thing again, assigning a new variable name. But in this case the idea is I'll show you in the script, which I'm going to post, how you can do this, but essentially all I'm going to do is just do this. I just want to be able to move it. Now I've got skipfish in the directory that I want. I still haven't messed with the menu system, but again it hasn't been compiled. So if I run make, it will compile it, and I will have skipfish of the latest version. But I want you to pay attention when we post the script up there so that you guys can take a look at what we're doing. And the idea here is to automate this as much as possible so that it's a hands-off implementation. So now it's 1.81b. And the idea is that you can use this as part of a normal, what I call an update script, that you run every time before you head off to a site, and then you can make sure that at that point everything is working and functioning properly, and you don't have to worry about it. So that's just kind of what we would do, but obviously you can do your own thing. And so that's kind of where we are now. The one thing that you may notice is, because we've obviously made some changes, is that you have some WL files, and I don't know if you've ever looked at any one of these, but you can cat and just looked at it, and essentially you have to be able to establish something that you're going to be able to use as your primary one in the previous versions. In this new version you actually don't have to, so or to at least my knowledge. But let's validate that. And so oops. And so let's see, you can create custom dictionaries in the form of type, hits, total age, last age, and keyword. And so in this case, so in this case, what you want to do is you want to copy whatever one you want, the one you want to use, over to your dictionary, and then you'll use that WL file for that. And obviously that avoids you from having to. Now there used to be a default one that they would give you, and you essentially just copy default over to dictionary, or I think it was skipfish WL at the time, and now they changed it to dictionary. But essentially what you need to do is, to make sure that this is usable, you need to, so you can copy complete, and then all that does is make sure that instead of using, so it's an all-inclusive over 150,000 requests, And so you can use minimal, which is 50,000, and then the 100,000. But obviously, they've added those together. But I would say that, you know, quite frankly, if it were me, I would just make sure that my dictionary WL was probably composed from either medium or complete, just because I wanted to make sure I have everything. So essentially, now I've got all of that. I've got it built. It's ready to go, and now Skipfish will function as designed, and I don't really have to worry too much about that. So